I've been super excited for this conversation. I'm joined by a man who took the beaten path to the top of the mortgage industry, and that's Aaron Chapman. But he didn't start in a boardroom. He started in the livestock pens of Utah, the freezing oil fields of Wyoming, and the driver's seat of a long-haul truck. Today, he is a premier leader in investment property finance, overseeing the underwriting for a massive percentage of investor real estate mortgages across the country. Aaron is a $100 million producer in the top 1% of his industry, but he did it without ever putting on the corporate uniform. He's the author of the raw new book, Redneckonomics: Unconventional Success by Taking the Beaten Path. He's here to talk about grit, authenticity, and why the path to winning is paved with the things most people try to avoid. Welcome to the show, Aaron.
Thank you, Shalom. I appreciate that intro.
Absolutely. Your origin story is one of the most unlikely in finance. Cattle ranching, oil fields, mining, long-haul trucking. How did a guy from the dirt and diesel worlds end up in underwriting, especially underwriting a massive percentage of the country's investment property mortgages?
Ultimately, is because I had no place else to go. When you lose jobs and people won't give you jobs because you're too qualified for every job you're applying for, you're willing to take anything. And I put myself in a position where I was out of fuel, could not get back home without getting some gas. And I swiped my debit card. I got a decline. I had to walk a parking lot for a couple hours, and I stumbled into a person that happened to be there at the same time. Just by the grace of God and an answer of prayer did I have that person introduce me to this. And I took that because I couldn't find anything else. And this is not an industry you go into and you have other options, especially when your first option is telemarketing.
Well, lots of miracles along that journey, but certainly prayer sounds like it worked for you that day. And there was a pivotal moment earlier in your finance career where someone told you you had to wear the corporate uniform to make it, and you refused. What was going through your head, Aaron, and what did that decision do for your business?
Well, there's a lot of little instances that led up to that point where you're realizing that you're lying to people with your appearance when you're trying to conform to what the world says you need to look like for business. And then I was out to dinner with a very good friend, and he had his arm around me as we're walking down the street after dinner with our wives, and he says, I'm going to make you wealthy. I'm like, how is that? And he goes, I'm going to connect you with everybody in the real estate side of our business, but you got to do one thing. I said, what is that? I said, you need to conform more. Like, what does that look like? He goes, you need to buy some suits, shave, dress differently. And I had to decide really quickly. I'm like, I literally have to give up who I am. But then I realized later, like, I was straddling a line of being me, but also trying to conform. And that moment forced me to either jump on his boat and sail in the waters he's going to go and fish in, or I've got to go and burn my boats and go through the jungle. So I decided at that point to tell him, I appreciate that. I love you. I appreciate you. But I'm not going to say what I told him, but I'm not going to take that route. I ended up deciding I'm going to dump everything that made me look like I was trying to conform and go strictly who Aaron Chapman was. And I'm going to risk everything on that. And it was probably the greatest risk and also the greatest payoff of my career.
You've been authentic all the way through, and I love that you share it in the book, which we'll continue to highlight over the next few minutes. But the book is structured around 13 ass beatings without sugarcoating it. What was the single hardest beating you took, either in the oil fields or the boardroom, that taught you something that there's no way you could have learned in an MBA program?
Going into 2008, that big crash that the world was experiencing, it's August 8th of 2008. 8 was always my lucky number. I'm heading out of town to clear my head on a Harley Road King. 15 minutes into that ride, a 17-year-old driving his dad's truck was not paying attention. I got put into another vehicle at 80 miles an hour. I woke up in the hospital with a memory that would recycle every few minutes. I went into the hospital that day, or I left my house that day with a net worth of just shy of $4 million, 190 pounds with a credit score of over 700, 760, 780. I left the hospital weeks later, 156 pounds, a negative net worth of 1.5 million, a credit score in the 400s, and a memory that would recycle every 3 to 4 minutes. That right there made me decide really what I was going to do. Do I have to change paths altogether? And I decided to stick with what got me there. And that was something that was taught to me very early in my career by a mentor of mine. So I decided to do that, and I doubled down with everything. And I had to really get systems in place to be successful, because when your memory doesn't retain anything, you have to start writing things down better. You have to be better about your presentation. You have to be very honest with people. And in that moment, that really changed everything for me, because the noise of the world got turned down a lot. It got down to what was really important. And what was important was the things that I had forgotten about in my trek for success. And in that trek for success, I lost freaking everything. So then I had to look at what is the things that I lost and what are the things that I retained. I stuck with what I retained, which is my family, my children, my faith. And I built from there. And after building from that, I was able to work my way up to that position of being number 7 in the United States in my industry, which led me to being number 1 in the real estate investment space. And I never look back on any of that beating that I took as a drawback. That was one of the greatest lessons, the greatest benefits of my life. And I didn't start to learn that we retain that which causes us pain. The bigger the beating, the bigger the benefit if you attack it and continue to work towards it. But if you take the beating and lay there and lick your wounds, you lose.
You said that you struggle with the phrase, you deserve it. Why do you believe that deserving is a trap? And how does the mindset of earning everything change the way you lead your team?
So I believe deserving would be something that you be handed regardless of what you did. To me, it's a kind of a faith without works is dead. If I just had faith, I should be given everything. I should be a billionaire because I have the faith to do it. Because I say the phrases every day and I walk on the coals. I do all these things, but there's action that has to take place. So if you don't do the work, you cannot get the thing. So I fully believe that action is what's necessary to accomplish anything. You have to have the faith. You have to have the belief. You have to have the things that you're thinking towards and speaking towards and pointing towards, but you have to get your ass up off of the seat and start moving towards them. So when somebody tells me, hey, you deserve that, it's like, you just cheapened all the work that I did to get there, because all the treacherous paths I had to take, the rocks, the cliffs, the poisonous serpents I went over and got past, you're telling me I deserved to just show up here, then why did I have to do all that? And I think people fail to understand that they have to put forth work if deserving is all we need.
Absolutely. I'm chatting with Aaron Chapman, and Aaron is the author of a raw new book, Redneckonomics: Unconventional Success by Taking the Beaten Path. And we are continuing our conversation about grit, authenticity, and why the path to winning is paved with things most people try to avoid. We're going to continue our conversation with Aaron when we come back in just a moment. Welcome back to Get Down to Business. This show, all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. I'm continuing my fascinating conversation with Aaron Chapman. Aaron, social media paints a very polished version of success. How does Aaron Chapman define it? Is it $100 million in production, or is it something that feels entirely different?
To me, ultimate success right now is grandchildren. Because I have 3 of them. And the reason that is successful to me is because of everything it took in my life to get to the point that I have grandchildren and a relationship with those grandchildren and children that want to come back home and bring their kids around me. There is nothing more successful to me than having family and having relationships and having experiences. If you do not have relationships and you don't have experiences, you have nothing, because I don't believe you take anything else with you but who you became through the struggles that you went through the trials that you took on, and through the things that you built yourself around, through the people you've associated with and the experiences you have with those individuals.
In your new book, Redneckonomics: Unconventional Success by Taking the Beaten Path, you have a chapter that is entitled, When I Go to the Grave, I Am Coming in Hot. And you talk about leaving nothing on the table. What does that look like practically for you as a father, grandfather? Congratulations on that. A man of faith. And how does that drive your work in the office?
I'm not driving to a number to set me up to a point where I can just kick back and put my feet up. I'm driving to gathering as much as I possibly can in the form of relationships, experiences I just mentioned, and be able to build a foundation for my family to continue to build off of when I am gone. And I don't believe it'll ever be a point where I hand it off. I will be operating to the best of my capability until I take my last breath. And God willing, we're able to continue to build a foundation that they can take and move forward. What we have so far in the world that I see is most folks want to build themselves to a point where they can economically retire and relax and do whatever that they want to do, but there's not much passed on to the next generation. And all the effort they put in now gets lost by the next generation or the following. That I am going to do everything I can to prevent that happening. And the way to do that is to stay engaged up until that moment that last breath is drawn.
Aaron, finally, if a listener is currently taking a beating in their business right now and feels like quitting, what's the Redneckonomics prescription for turning that adversity into a strategic advantage?
Honestly, find solace in the beating that you're taking. because it's teaching you something. There's something you're not learning or you have yet to learn. The beatings you take are teaching you what you need to know for the next plateau. It's like climbing Everest. Everest is nothing but a beating till you get on top of it. And unfortunately, the worst part about that, I believe, is when you get up there, you have a few minutes for a selfie, and then you got to get down before it kills you. Because you're still here, because you're still drawing breath, you are still going to be tilling the ground. You're still going to be making things happen. Find actual gratitude in the beating and do not give up. The second you give up is when it has beaten you. Lean in hard and give some back.
Aaron, I want to give the final word over to you. The book is fascinating. I love the perspective. I love the journeys and the authenticity that you put into the book and, of course, into our conversation today. And I know our listeners will want to learn more and get in touch with you. How can they find the book? How can they get in touch?
Well, you can go to Amazon, of course, and look at Bread and Economics, or you can go directly to my website, quitjerkingoff.com. Yes, that is a website because there's a lot in that phrase. There's a lot of times people are wasting time and energy and their resources on things of zero value. Right. So I look at that as something you need to be focusing on, stuff that you need to put your attention towards. And please get the hard copy. The hard copy has over $100,000 worth of artwork, and then get the audio. I did the audio myself, along with the forward from Robert Allen, the afterword from Dolph DeRoos, two great names that did their reading for theirs. It's one of those just amazing projects that are put together with a lot of great minds.
I love it. Aaron Chapman, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for enlightening us and just being so authentic and transparent. Journeys are not a straight path. Yours certainly wasn't, and I know that's the same for so many of our listeners. So I encourage everybody to get the book. We'll link in the show notes. As always, we come back each and every Sunday right here on 856 The Answer with lots of stories of entrepreneurial success and challenges. So don't miss a single episode. Get on my website, shalomklein.com. Get in touch with me. Go on your favorite podcast app. Just search for Get Down to Business. Subscribe, rate, review, and share so you don't miss a single episode. To success, let's get down to business. We'll see you next week.